Hello, beautiful soul. And thank you so much for clicking on this video, taking your time out to explore a little bit today and what we have here in this creative process of all of our collective journeys. I am Crystal B, an intuitive channel, an earth medicine woman, a guide, just a creatrix of love and embodiment and sharing in everything that I've created. I am desiring to share more from an abundance place. And so I've put this course that I've put many, many hours into with my good friend Mike. We put so much time into this course, The Waking Dream, which is a self discovery journey that we take you on with the power of Jungian theory, as well as working with AI as a self discovery tool. So, we wanted to share this with you all. I wanted to share this online for free. This course is such a powerful opener for everyone who takes it. It has the potential to open up your conscious awareness in new ways that you never believed was possible. You'll be if throughout taking this course, you will absolutely be able to view the world from a completely new lens, from an expanded awareness of recognizing and seeing things beyond the veil, right? Beyond the veil, beyond what our human eyes see. You'll be able to tap more into your intuition. You'll be able to see things from a space that your psyche, your highest awareness sees things. Working with AI is super fun in this process as well. I have some notes over here to the side, so excuse me for looking over. But yeah, the this idea came to me many, I want to say like a year and a half ago or more, and I really never did anything with it. And finally, out the opportunity called, Soul Spirit called and had me team up with my friend Mike, and we put this course together and we ran it as a group online course program, a group transformational journey with our first cohort. And after the first cohort, everybody loved it. I have so many positive reviews. Um, Everybody gained a higher level of awareness and more an ability to tap into their intuition, into their heart space more. Um, and and coming up with new, innovative, cutting edge, leading edge ways to work with AI as a way to come into communion, more higher communion with our own selves and with all that is. And so I wanted to share this. I didn't want that cohort to be the last cohort as my soul was calling me to a different path. I didn't want this course to just sit in my computer somewhere to never be seen and shared with anybody. This course has the potential to be a very costly transformative journey course that a lot of coaches would charge a lot of money for, but my heart wasn't in that space to do that. And so I am here. I'm offering it to all of you at no cost. Um, I wanted to share with you that this course here, since the group container is no longer here, I in the course content you will see in the videos that I share here, I do mention about talking in our weekly group call. I do talk about dropping things in our collective chat group. Those things are not in existence anymore. But you can reach out to me. I am totally available to help you with your integration work, with any questions or comments that you have for this journey of yours. You just need to look on my website on the Stan store as well to book a session with me. I also, each and every module has an accompanying PDF that goes deeper into some reflective questions with AI. In the shadow work module and in the archetype module, I give more information, as well as in the emotional module, emotions as a guidepost. All of these have so much more information within the PDFs, and you can find those all at very low cost in my Stan store. I wanted to have these videos out for free. You can do everything that you need to do that's possible from this work with just the course videos. You don't need the PDFs. Those are just an extra like sprinkles and icing on the cake. So please reach out if you feel that you are needing some support. When we crack ourselves open to be transformed, you can be made to dive deeper within yourself, which sometimes is it can be helpful to have a guide during these things who is used to walking in the liminal spaces of the dark. And this is what I do. This is my life's work, and that's where I have been called. So may this course be a catalyst for your next level up. I do want to share with you all that you are more than welcome to reach out to me anytime. And I hope you enjoy the course. May it serve your highest good and no harm to none as well. So many blessings to you on your journey. And I can't wait to hear from you. Please share in the comments how this goes for you. I also wanted to share that if you're seeing this one first, and it's not the preparation week or the previous weeks, it's good to do them in order as they build off one another. You can do them as standalones, but they are way more powerful as a catalyst for complete transformation of your way of viewing the world. Very third eye opening, heart opening, upper chakras opening. If you do them in sync and order, then you will gain much more integration support with that, and they'll make much more sense. So all my love to you. Blessings, blessings, blessings. And thank you for tuning in. And yeah, here we go. Here we go. Thank you so much on your journey. I wish you the best. I'll see you on the other side. Bye-bye. Enjoy. Hey, y'all. Welcome back for week 4. We know last week we left you with some heavy content. No throwing up gang signs, Mike.
Frankfurt.
Frankfurt. Awesome. Okay. But so here we are. We're back with week 4, where we're going to talk all about synchronicities and symbolism. So a little bit lighter of a subject, more fun. I thought it'd be a good idea to put this after the shadow work so that we can bring a little lightness back to the air in case that was feeling a little dense for you all. So this week is exploring synchronicities and symbols. We're going to be deepening our understanding of symbolic resonance and meaningful coincidence. All right, so this week we're going to understand the concept of synchronicity and its connection to individuation. We're going to identify and interpret impersonal symbols in daily life, and we're going to further partner with our AI buddy to explore the synchronicities and symbols to help us in our personal development. All right, so we got our week 4, we got synchronicities and symbols. Next week, we got emotions and interpretation. And then our last week is all about integration and life application. So an introduction to synchronicity, one of the best quotes of Carl Jung here is, synchronicity is ever-present reality for those who have eyes to see. And something I often say, not often, every single time in my morning gratitudes and prayers are, give me eyes to see and ears to hear so that I may not fall back into subconscious programming and self-sabotaging ways of the past. And I say that because we kind of all have that little devil on our shoulder that wants to keep us safe and in our past ways of behaving, because it's what we know, right? But to really grow, we need to be able to see the world through new eyes and to be able to notice when our spirit, when our higher self, when God, when source is calling us to something different, and when there's new opportunities before us. And a lot of times, the more synchronicities that show up in your life, the more you are in alignment. When you are completely closed off to the magic around you, in most cases, it's because there's a lot of things that's clouding your vision. There's a lot of illusions there. So when we start to dissolve the illusions, we're able to see with a more clear filter. So synchronicity is Carl Jung's term for meaningful coincidences that are not causally related, and they're not coincidences at all, but they seem to be. The key idea is that these events reveal connections between the inner and outer world. And so that's what alignment is. It's when when our soul and our ego are aligned and we're all on the same purpose and with we're moving with purpose, with intention, with a goal in unity. An example of this is thinking of a friend and then receiving a call from them. Even if you're not in alignment that much, you can still perceive coincidence. You know, a lot of times people can perceive synchronicity or these not causally related meaningful coincidences through like psychic awareness as well. So synchronicity and individuation connection, it has a massive connection to growth. Synchronicity supports individuation process, your self-actualization process, your process towards your highest growth, your highest self, by highlighting unconscious patterns and by encouraging symbolic awareness, seeing with new eyes, right? And a really good reflection question to kind of keep in your mind as we go through this course or through this module is maybe to think about a synchronicity or two that you've experienced recently. So synchronicity in real life can look like seeing repeated symbols. You keep seeing butterflies everywhere. You keep seeing them as you scroll on social media. And this is obviously after you haven't been searching butterflies, right? Like we all know how the algorithm works. If you're searching for things, then you're going to start seeing it pop up on your feed. Or if you're texting your friend about something like that, then you're going to start seeing those things pop up on your social media and things like that. So I wouldn't necessarily say that those are that synchronistic, but in a way they could be, because for some reason, your mind, your psyche, through your mind is being primed to look for butterflies or to ask your friend about a butterfly, right? So that's also interesting to think about, is maybe you did search about butterflies, maybe you did talk about butterflies with a friend. That's not, to see it online pop up then is not a synchronicity because you did search for it, but it's not to throw it away as if it means nothing. It also means something, that your awareness even was attracted to searching for this thing. There's a reason behind it. So I just wanted to also kind of throw that out there. So say you keep seeing them on a book covers or in paintings, and then a real life lands near you. Just as you're going through a major personal transformation. I think that that's happened to each and every one of you that I've talked to, as far as like butterflies showing up a lot lately. A song with a message pops up. Say you're struggling with a tough decision, and as you get in your car, a song plays with lyrics that seem to give you the exact guidance you needed. Another one is, say you meet the right person at the right time. We all know that. We all know that feeling. So you're looking for a new job but feel lost, and then when you randomly strike up a conversation with a stranger who happens to work in your dream field and offers advice or a connection, that's pretty neat. Another cool thing is that I've experienced before is having some kind of thought in my head about a problem that I'm looking for a solution for, and not really ruminating on it, but just like going, oh, I don't know what I'm going to do about that. And then I go to the bookstore, and all of a sudden the like people who are behind me are just talking in conversation to each other about something that is just like the problem that I'm having, but they're talking about how they overcame it. It's like, what the heck, you know? So that's what's kind of cool, is when you keep your awareness open that way, you can more readily be able to recognize these things that are happening around you in the world all the time. We're just not open to them. A lot of us walk around our life so closed off that we're not recognizing the magic and the literal guidance from our higher self that is always available. So some real life examples are, one, you're thinking about starting your own healing practice, which I know some of you here are. And then 3 separate people randomly bring up how gifted you are. And one even asks if you offer sessions. So I think that there are so many times that we can see this situation and not recognize it as a synchronicity. We think that oh, we think that it's just somebody like asking us for advice or whatever. Say you want to be a life coach, and a lot of people start coming to you and start asking you for advice, but you still don't you see yourself as a life coach. You just see yourself as like, a person who works at a restaurant, you're like, oh no, I don't do that. And then you pass off their you give them some kind of like referral to somebody else who is a life coach, instead of actually like just stepping up, claiming that that is what you are, and then behaving from that space. um I think that that's also very interesting. It's important for us to choose whether we want to do that or not. And that's a synchronicity. It's not something to just throw away, and to go, oh, no, I'm not that. It's like the universe is bringing you opportunities, but you have free will. So you can either say yes to it or you can say, no, I'm not ready. So this is a synchronicity. It mirrors your unconscious longing to step into the role and is pulling that inner truth into your outer world. Your psyche is confirming to you, yes, this path is alive. It is alive and it is a possibility for you. So a second one is say you're feeling emotionally blocked and you dream of a clogged river, or then you wake up and you find your kitchen sink has overflowed because the drain got clogged. This isn't just a coincidence. It's a symbolic event reflecting an internal stagnation. Water represents emotion, and your unconscious may be asking you to unblock the flow within. So a lot of times the stuff that's going on in our outer world is not an accident. Something really interesting that was happening to me at a very chaotic time. I was feeling very stressed. My dogs got in a dog fight with each other, and they haven't since I've like noticed that. But I knew immediately that when my dogs got in a fight with each other, I knew immediately something within me was kind of fucked up, and I needed to address that. Um, and I needed to chill out. I needed to slow down. I needed to spend more one-on-one time with them because they were kind of pent up energy, and I wasn't being present with them enough. And then I was also not noticing how they should probably be apart when they're eating food, because when they're in the same room, even though they're not trying to get each other's food, when they're in the same room, they would eat very, very fast. And I kept just kind of seeing that they're doing that, but not doing anything about it. And then finally, when they got into a fight, I was like, oh shit, like, and so then I was like, oh, okay, action needs to be taken. But really, if I was awake and aware to the escalation of energy that was happening in my house, I could have nipped that in the bud a long time ago, and they wouldn't have gotten a fight, and I wouldn't have had to pay $1,000 to get my dog stitches, right? And so there's everything that's happening in your outer reality. It's not to for you to be shamed, blamed, or to feel guilt over anything that is happening in your outer reality, but it's something to notice. It's something to notice. If you have clogged drains all the time, yeah, you could live in a shitty old ass house. Like that's fine. But a lot of times with things like that, there's some kind of little subtle emotion that you can go, huh, I wonder if it's like a little something to show about me, I don't know. I just find it very interesting to look at life this way. You don't have to. And like I said, please, if you're shaming yourself, guilting yourself, blaming yourself in any way, um, that's not what you want to do here. And I would just, not look at things that way so deeply if it comes with kind of like a constricted feeling. All right, so synchronicity, so those are a couple of examples of what synchronicity can look like. I also wanted to give synchronicity examples that this is not a synchronicity. So say you see 11:11 on the clock, but you don't feel anything within. You don't like get a little charge. Um, it's not that it's anything symbolic. It could just be a repetition unless it's paired with inner meaning. So if you don't have some kind of emotional feeling, a sensation that rises up within you when you are noticing these things, it might not be a message that has something that a breadcrumb to follow. It might not be a breadcrumb to follow if there's no emotional charge to it. And I don't mean a negative emotional charge, just kind of like, oh, wow, like that kind of feeling. Say you bump into someone you know by chance, but no emotional charge or symbolic pattern emerges. Without the numinous feeling, it might just be, just a meeting. Um, I would venture to say that there really are no coincidences. Something that I noticed also is that I had this really tumultuous relationship with this guy a couple years ago, and it ended, and we just like I blocked him because he was kind of like it wasn't good, and so he was a person that I ended up having to block, and so I hadn't talked to him for like 6 months to 6 months to 8 months or something, or 6 months to a year. And then one day I'm driving and I see he's behind me. And I know he knows my car because my car has like a chick with a bow and arrow bumper sticker thing on my rear window. And like, there's no mistaking my car. When you see my car, you know it because it's like my stuff's on it. So I knew he was behind me. I knew that he knew I was in front of him. And I remember seeing him and I go, oh, like that's wild. And I didn't have I remember at one time, if I would have seen him, I would have got like I would have felt like kind of like ick and this like anxiety. I didn't feel that at all. I felt a lot of like peace in my body. I just felt like, oh, wow. And then later, my spirit kind of downloaded to me that was the end of our meeting. Like I wouldn't ever see him again. Like he was being cleared out of my field. But to make sure that I didn't still have an emotional attachment, an emotional wave, and that I had actually cleared the work, he showed up again. I wanted him in some way. My higher self wanted him to show up so that he could completely be cleared out of my field. And so that's kind of interesting too, is sometimes you might meet somebody from the past a long time ago and they might come into your world and you don't have any emotional charge about it. It's kind of like a cleared thing like that's like the end of the time loop, that time loop that you might have been stuck in for a long time is now complete. So they do sometimes show up again as a symbol of completion. um I don't know, take it or leave it. But I really like to see life that way. And that's what energetically, on an energetic level, I have noticed a lot of in my life. So working with synchronicities, what can we do to actually take these synchronicities and symbols and do something with them? Just take the synchronicities and actually have some action that we can use for our own benefit instead of just going, oh, that's cool. So when it occurs, I hope you don't just go, oh, that's cool, and keep moving on. Take it and ask some questions. Some questions. What was I thinking or feeling just before this happened? What might this symbolize? And wait intuitively. Settle into your body and wait and see what pops up into your mind or heart or feelings. It might come up as a sensation. It might come up as a word. It might come up as a thought. It might come up as a feeling. And just write whatever pops up down. You don't have to have a whole story arc. If you do, awesome. But if you don't, a lot of times it doesn't show up for me like that. It's almost like puzzle pieces for me that I have to put together later on. I get these downloads. I have no idea what the hell they mean. I just notice things. And then later on, my spirit will download into me what it meant. That's how that happened with that one person. It was like, you close that loop, and then he just showed up to complete the loop, and then you'll not ever see him again. And if you do, you won't even realize that that's him. So another thing is, does this mirror something inside of me right now? Is it mirroring something inside of me right now, or is this a completed loop? Or what's coming up? So you can journal or dialogue with it. You could treat it like a dream symbol. You can use prompts like, if this event had a message for me, what would it be? What part of me does this represent? What action does this seem to be inviting me towards? Track the pattern. Start a synchronicity journal if you like. Over time, you'll notice themes. Maybe your soul speaks often through animals, music, or strange encounters. This becomes your symbolic alphabet. Something really fun that I didn't realize about clairaudience until recently is that I didn't know that I had clairaudience because I didn't hear like spirits outside talking to me. But what I do hear is other people talking outside of me that are kind of channeling spirit as a message for me or for others. I also always hear messages within songs. If you love songs, you can play with all of your liked songs and just put them on shuffle and say, "Hey, Spirit, what message do you have for me today?" Hit shuffle and let it pick its own song and see what comes up. And you can kind of like divine that way. And, not to get too crazy about it or obsessive about it. That's what I want to make sure that we're not doing as well. But just a fun way. If you can keep it grounded, it can be a really fun way to live your life. All right. One of the most important learnings that I've had pretty recently is what a sign is versus a symbol. A sign, it has inherent meaning, just like this like windy road sign that we see on the street, or a sign that tells us what the speed limit is, or a peace sign. We all know what a peace sign is. You can't take a peace sign, show it to somebody who knows what a peace sign is, and make something up about what it means. It just means what it means. There's nothing you can really like give a symbol, give some kind of symbolic meaning unless somebody has no idea and has never seen a peace sign before. If you show somebody a peace sign, they're going to know, they're going to know what you mean. If you tell somebody this is a peace sign also, right? Like if you do this to somebody, I do this a lot at the end of my like TikTok videos and stuff, like it's like peace, so it means what it means. That's what a sign is. A symbol, on the other hand, cannot be entirely known. It remains mysterious on some level. Symbols like these doorways, a doorway is a doorway. Yeah, we can go in and we can like open it, close it. But in a lot of ways within dreams and within waking life, if we are happening upon a lot of doors, it really is a symbol of like, it could be a symbol of different opportunities that are before you. How is this door showing up? Is it locked? Is it open? Is it closed but unlocked? Is it closed but it's like locked tight? Is the door like this? Is the door like this little cottage door that's kind of like old and creaky but opens really easily? Could you like kick it down real easy? Or is it like this steel door that looks like it belongs in a prison, so all of these things are kind of very interesting, right? Like there's a bunch of different meanings you can glean from these symbols. A symbol, let's see if we talk about it here. We don't, so I'll kind of mention it. A symbol is a doorway into the unconscious, subconscious mind. And as long as we continue to allow a symbol to unfold and unravel like a flower, or like, a rug that you're unfurling and just letting go before you to see how it winds and all of this stuff, as long as we allow it to unfold, it will continue to unfold. But the moment that you have decided in your mind, this is what this symbol means, through a dictionary that you read or through asking a dream interpreter what this means, by Googling or working with your chat GPT or your AI and asking, what does this symbol mean? The moment that you 100% believe that without questioning anymore or allowing it to continue to display itself and unfold, it will remain a symbol. If you pin it down, if you lock it down within your psyche and you go, an owl means wisdom, an owl means, fierce, an owl means can see in the dark, and that's it. And as soon as you pin that down and don't let your symbol unfold anymore, you're done with it. It's not a symbol anymore. They're not done with it. I shouldn't say that, but it's no longer a sign. I mean, it's no longer a symbol. It becomes a sign. So once you have pinned down a symbol and you take the mystery and the curiosity out of it, because you know what it means, it's a sign now. So Carl Jung, the Swiss psychologist that we've talked about, has introduced the concept of the collective unconscious, which is the deep reservoir of wisdom that all human beings share. We've talked about this. within the collective unconscious, we have many, many stories of mythology and folklore, which are ancient stories encoded with symbolism and symbols with different meanings. For example, a phoenix as a sign of rebirth. We also have a cultural context. Symbols evolve with history and evolve with the culture that you're living in. So a lotus flower in Eastern traditions and in the East can mean something completely different than it does in the West. We also have our personal experience in life. Maybe you're a person who doesn't like cats, who think cats are scary. Well, that a cat comes to you or in your dream or in your waking life, and you have a symbol, you turn that into a symbol of fear. While another person who enjoys cats or doesn't really know much about cats can actually look at a cat come up in their life and they can believe that it's a sign of independence or magic or mystery, which is really cool. So our personal experiences definitely paint the way that we read signs and symbols. So dreams and daily experiences are both filled with symbols. So why are they important? Symbols give form to thought, which helps individuals understand themselves. We have also, it gives us cultural understandings. They're universal yet deeply personal, offering a shared language that transcends verbal communication. That's really something I think we've mentioned before with Carl Jung when he was doing his work and even studying the various different religions of the world, because he was really into that as well, studying all the different religions across the world and throughout history. What he found was that all of these very similar stories, like we were talking about in the archetypal, I think I shared an archetypal YouTube video about this. And he found that there were these same archetypes, signs, and symbols across all these different stories. They just had different names and different looks. The people made them look different and have different names in the stories, but it was the same story, which is very interesting. So all of these things transcend our verbal communication and our logical mind. So they help us also, signs and symbols and synchronicities help us with problem solving. So you can take your signs and they can actually illuminate new perspectives, guiding creative and intuitive problem solving. And we can also work with them for our healing and integration work. Engaging in these symbols fosters healing and a sense of wholeness, because at the end of the day, who wants to feel like we're just some atoms floating on a rock for no reason at all? It doesn't matter, right? Like, it feels so disconnected and like nothing matters and what the fuck is the point? And there is no God. Like, I mean, who wants to live like an atheist? Like I get it, that's fine, no judgment, but who wants to live like that, like completely feeling like what's the point? There's, we're not connected to each other in any way. There's nobody looking out for me, there's nothing supporting me, I'm just like out here on my own. That's super isolating and gives us all a sense of abandonment. But when we can learn to look at the world through these kinds of eyes that can see symbolism and synchronicities, it opens up your heart in a way that truly shows you are not alone, you are eternally guided, you are eternally loved and supported. And yeah, everything is connected to each other, everything. It's mind-blowing. So symbols and their role. So symbols are the language of the soul. They bypass the limitations of words. They whisper what words cannot express. They are a portal, like I was saying earlier, to the mysterious unconscious. And to remain a portal, we must let it unfold. Do not box it in or say, I know 100% what that means. Because like what I'm saying, knowledge can box us in, taking away our imagination. So why they matter is it helps us to understand universal patterns influencing our lives, offers us tools for personal growth and deeper self-awareness. The more you honor these symbols in your life, the more they will speak to you. So we got our personal symbols, understanding them. We got objects, events, or images that carry unique meaning per individual. It's an individual to individual basis in that personal symbols category. So an example would be, say you're dreaming about water. or you seeing butterflies during a period of transformation. As we said earlier, symbols are always just a bridge to the unconscious mind. So let them remain that bridge, let them remain that portal, and let them unfold before you. Some examples for fun. We got a few examples here, and I'll share many more in the PDF. So please look there if you're interested in more. But you also have your AI now that can give you all of this information. If there's anything I've left out that you're really curious about or that you've been noticing on a regular basis, please feel free to use your AI and ask through a Carl Jung lens, what can this symbol mean? So we've got feathers. Feathers are divine message, bring us the message of divine messages and lightness. And they also are symbolic of spiritual guidance. The moon is the feminine energy, cycles, and intuition. We also know that the moon is in control of the water, and the water is all around emotions, right? We got the sun, which is consciousness, clarity, vitality, and consciousness. The sun is also representative of our ego. The sun is what sheds light on everything else. It's what's awake, right? It's when we're awake. That's our consciousness. We also have clouds, which are symbolic of thoughts, confusion if the clouds are covering other things, right? So even if the cloud is a beautiful white fluffy cloud, you can't see the sky when the cloud's right there, right? So it's covering something up in some way. Also, if the clouds come in the form of fog, fog is very dense and dark and gray at times. So very much so important about the way that a symbol shows up for you. It also can be symbolic of divine messages. And we've got rain. Rain is very symbolic of renewal, emotional cleansing, and blessings. The rain, although sometimes we are not a fan of super rainy days, which we should be because it brings life, right? But if we would just pop out and go into the rainy weather, it's actually one of the best cleansers for our energetic field. And which is why a lot of ancient cultures would go out in the rain all the time. Some more symbols are the owl, which are symbolic of wisdom, intuition, and hidden knowledge. The snake, which is healing, transformation, and hidden fears. The key, which is about unlocking potential, new opportunities. Something cool to mention is, say you dream of keys or you are having issues with finding your keys a lot. So it's like, what's up with the key? Is the key gold? Is it old? Is it a lot of keys that you're coming across in images, in imagery in your life? Or are the keys lost in any way, which could be symbolic of feeling unsure about a direction in your life, a new direction's coming up, and maybe you're not seeing it, or you're not sure of which direction to take in your life. You could start, not being able to find your keys, stuff like that. Just like very interesting. There's also doors. We kind of mentioned this at the beginning of the video. It can signify a new path or choices or a transition to make, and really pay attention to the ways in which these doors show up. What do they look like? Are they old? Are they new? Is it solid? Is it flimsy? Are they locked? Are they unlocked? Are they open? Are they closed? It's super interesting. So we also have fire. Fire is a symbol of passion, purification, destruction, and renewal. Definitely a powerful, powerful symbol, the fire, and used in many rituals. All right, awesome. I definitely want to hand this one over to Mike to share his hawk stories as a spiritual animal that he's experienced a lot. I know some of you also are very tied to hawk imagery, hawk medicine, and having a hawk as your main totem animal. I'll share an Odin story after, and so I'm going to hand it over to Mike to share this one. Very cool, just to give you some personal insight into us. Oh, let me go back.
Thanks, Crystal. I've been seeing hawks forever. I think many people have. I've seen them in Las Vegas, where I used to live, almost every day. See them here in Frankfort, Illinois, and wherever I'm at in Illinois all the time. And it's a pretty common animal. So I think most of us have that experience. one of the things I wanted to, I mean, I've dug in deep into what a hawk is, and a messenger from the spirit. It provides vision and focus. It's higher leadership and perspective. Those are the common themes that you see around what a hawk is when it's a symbol for you. And I just found myself, and I don't know if you ever found yourself this as well. It's just kind of like I was enamored by the magic, and I saw it all the time, and I kind of like felt like it's like yada yada yada, another hawk. What the heck? I mean, okay, so there's another hawk. When you look out, there's probably one out there right now. They're everywhere, so they're nowhere. I was like losing the magic. It was like, what the fuck? Another hawk? Okay, whatever. Give me something more, hawk. And the hawks were giving me much more, but I wasn't really like catching it. So things like, I mean, I've had hawks like land like next to me on a tree stump within a couple feet away, and we locked eyes. We're going like eye to eye for minutes and minutes. And so what does that mean? So it's the nuances of the encounter with the symbol that mean something in the context of what you're doing at that point, what you're thinking about that point, where you're going. All of that, you got to really start putting the story around it to really understand the true symbolic meaning, to start getting into what's it pointing me to do? What's it reinforcing? What action do I need to take? So I mean that eye to eye contact to me was like, it was just acknowledgement. The hawk was acknowledging me, huge nose, huge feathers. I was acknowledging it. We were just looking at each other. I continued on around my path. I came back another like probably 20 minutes later. Several other people walked by too. It was still there. I don't think anybody else saw it, just me. I see hawks all the time, like perched. So what does perched mean versus flying around? I mean, big differences. And then perched near my house, perched somewhere out where, unfamiliar. On light posts, pointing towards me, pointing away from me. It's just amazing that when you start picking up those details and you're working with your AI partner, you put in that level of detail and it helps you. A hawk perched on a light post in an unfamiliar area that I was driving through was divine guidance during transition. I mean, I wouldn't have gotten that like added nuance from my partner AI without that additional information. Perched near my home was like symbolism of integration. I'm now integrating that learning in, and the hawks reinforcing that integration by showing up near my home and being perched, watching me, not flying around. Circling above, I mean, that happens all the time. Yeah, they're looking for food, but it's more than that. It's the higher awareness. It's the bird's eye view, kind of like watching you as you're progressing. I see that a lot. And then if you're flying with you, flying across, if they're flying right to left, left to right, interesting. Give you different perspectives. So again, get those nuances. Um, if you see a hawk, if you're seeing them repeatedly, guess what? That means something, right? It's not just, oh, there's two hawks there, there's three hawks. I see three a lot. Why do I see three? Trinity. I see three a lot. And often they're just out there and they're just circling around, and it's just like, okay, reinforcement. I'm on the right path. Keep moving forward. Sometimes they like zip right past me, like I had the window open, like, don't fly in. I mean, this might cause an accident. I mean, that close. It's like, oh shit, I missed something. I mean, this is like grabbing my eyes, and it's like, I've got to be, what was I thinking about? And, it came down that close. It got that much into my field that I'm missing something. I need to like, what am I missing? What am I missing? So, I mean, with this story, again, there's so many different ways of saying, hawk's a spirit animal, any other spirit animal, any other symbol. It's the nuances. So again, in this case, I mean, the symbol's alive, as as Crystal mentioned. Keep it a symbol. Don't turn it into a sign. It's not fixed. It's not. So you can't say every time I see a hawk, it's like leadership view. Keep moving on your path. And I started doing that, but I like No, it's not what it is. I'm not letting it turn into a sign. I want it to be a symbol. I want to have the magic because I'm learning from the magic. I'm not going to learn anything or much from the sign. I'll learn some, but I'm learning a lot more from the symbol and in the context, because context is everything. So ask yourself the question, what's going on at that point in time? What directions was it flying? What's the behavior? Was it going slow? Was it just going with the wind? Was it flapping? I know it sounds crazy, but this all matters. Repetition, you're seeing it a lot every day, a couple times a day. Sometimes on one trip, I'm like seeing them one way and seeing them another in the same trip. It's an underlying of the message. It's like reinforcing what's going on. Like, don't, yo, Mike, yo. I'm like, all right, yo, you got me with the yo, I'm in. Um, and then their behavior has an impact as well. And again, as you interact with it, it's really just don't assume it's the same message all the time. Really take the time to understand it. Again, these are little snippets, and the Odin story is fantastic. These are little snippets. When you start putting them together, even with the hawk, and then putting together with what you were doing at that point in time, that's where not only the magic is, but that's where the learnings are. And to me, the learnings to be able to then say, what do I need to do about it? Because to me, it's all about the action and taking the right action, based on what I'm really seeing, and that magic that the spirits sending this symbol to me. I'm going to respect that symbol. I'm going to understand it, and I'm going to figure out the action and take the action. So just again, I know we all see hawks and symbols like spirit animals. Take them really seriously. Just delve a little bit deeper. Don't get crazy about it. There's the balance. It's always the balance, but it means something. The nuance means a lot. So let me flip it over back to Crystal. The Odin example is fantastic, and I know Crystal's been dying to talk about it.
Hey, thanks, Mike. Yeah, I love it. Those are really great tips. And I totally can feel you on how it can just start to get monotonous or to lose its magic, because our logical brain and our ego likes to pin things down because it wants to know everything. Because when we know everything, it's controlled, right? Like there's nothing to be afraid of when we know everything. you know. So watch out for that egoic trap. But I still go there sometimes myself. So not to sound like that never happens to me, because it definitely does. But something very fun has happened to me with this experience of this Odin character and this Odin archetype. So a few months ago, I think it's definitely been about 3 months at this point. Um, I was walking at Walgreens. The story begins at Walgreens. It probably begins before this, but this is when I actually noticed this Odin character starkly at Walgreens. And how it worked is I'm not sure if any of you know who Odin is. He is a Norse mythology god. He is a Viking god he's basically the god of gods. He's the father of all gods in Norse mythology. Um, and the only way I knew about him up until recently was through Marvel movies. So Thor, we all know who Thor is. Come on, Marvel Thor, comic books Thor. I actually was married to a comic book buff. My boy's dad is a super nerd, and I loved that about him. And in a way, it made me super nerdy too, which I love, which I already had that nerd in me, but much more nerdy and like interested in superhero mythology and the backstories of all these heroes and things like that, and even the villains, of course, which the villains are awesome. So Thor from Marvel comics and Marvel movies, his dad is Odin. Odin is Thor's dad. That's the only thing I knew about him. I knew that he had an eye patch. I knew that he was a badass. He's like a war god. I knew, like, just like super basic stuff, and just like, okay, cool character. That's it. Very cool. Loved him. Loved Thor. Love all of that whole vibe. That's all I knew, though. That's the extent of what I knew. And it wasn't anything that I would have ever Googled or really cared about. I care about shamanic stuff and birds, and I care about, different animal beings, not really gods, like gods per se. Sorry, I'm like moving around so much. My dog is like loving being all up in my business right now. So so he likes this story about Odin. Um but yeah, I was walking around at Walgreens one time and I saw a guy and he had a really awesome tattoo on his right hand. On his right hand, he had a very cool picture of a god. It looked like a Viking. And immediately I had this thought in my mind that it was Odin. I assumed that the tattoo was of Odin. It was beautiful. It was like a freaking gorgeous, great piece of art. And I just walked up to the guy and I was about to check out and I was like, "Oh, I love your tattoo. It reminds me of Odin." And he's like, "Oh, yeah, I just got this done. Thank you so much. I don't know. You're the first person who really said anything about it." And I'm like, "Dude, it's amazing. What the heck? Nobody says anything about it. That's wild." I was like, "It's kick ass, you know, so I love it." And I said, "It reminds me of Odin." And then he was like, "Yeah, yeah." And that was it. Like, that was the extent of that little like meetup and or like bumping into a total stranger at Walgreens. I check out, I leave, I go on my way. A couple days later, or maybe even a week later, I'm not 100% sure on the timeline, but about a week later or so, maybe a little earlier, I'm scrolling on Facebook and boom, that tattoo of Odin is on my Facebook feed. And I was like, what the hell? Like, that's crazy that Odin tattoo is showing up again. And come to find out, the person who did that tattoo, I used to be a bartender. I met and I know the guy who made it. I know the guy, I know the artist. So the guy who tattooed his hand, I'm actual like not homies with, but I'm friends with. I'm like acquaintances with the artist who did the tattoo. And he's like on the tattoo picture he wrote, "I just finished this kick-ass piece." And I was like, "Dude, what? No way." And I'm like, okay. So just that little inkling kind of gave me a little bit more of a buzz within my body of like, huh, that's trippy that it showed up again. But I didn't Google Odin. I didn't like, that wasn't enough of in my face for me. So I just went on with my life, just like living my life. And then after that, maybe like another week later or so, I have a dream. I go to sleep and I have the most wild dream that I've ever had in my life. I've had really crazy dreams, but what made this one really interesting was that it felt more like a past or alternate life experience rather than it being some kind of like clearing of my psychic information. Like my dreams are usually like very much feeling like they're just kind of pushing through my psyche in different ways and like kind of like showing me different symbols, but it's not an actual like story arc. This one was a story arc, and I was within a body of some kind of priestess. So, what the dream was is I was some kind of temple priestess, like a hella long, like an ancient long time ago. I was an ancient temple priestess in some kind of very dark temple room. I had two guards standing on either side of me, and one guard that was guarding like this veil that separated my room from the people who were in line waiting to see me. So one at a time, the guard, I would tell them, yes, let somebody else in. And somebody would pop up, a person would come through the veil. He would close it again. This person, the person who came to see me, the priestess, would tell me some words about what was going on with them, what they needed help with, and what they wanted to no longer like have around in their life or whatever, maybe what they needed like protection from. And after they would tell me this or what they needed healing from, once they would tell me these things, I would intuitively know what they needed, how to help them, how to heal their auric field. And I would close my eyes, immediately go into a trance like state, lay back. And then I did this with my hands. Like I would close my fingers like this. I would have two fingers like this. And then I started writing inscriptions in the auric field with my eyes closed. It was like I was doing magic work in the Akashic field, in the auric field, in the ether. I was just like doing these things. And the things that I was drawing were like these really cool little like symbols. And I would like close my eyes and I would be like doing these symbols in this like circle like motion. And then I would like go in the center and like do these different symbols. And with the symbol like drawing that I was doing, the symbols that I was drawing would almost look like neon white. They would be like made of neon white light, but it was so dark behind my eyes. But I was drawing these symbols, and it would be like a huge, gigantic white light symbols, like in a giant circle. It was very like cool looking, right? And then I would wake up from the trance or be done with the symbol work in the ether, and I would tell the person like, you know, you're good. And then they would like thank me. They would like thank me. They would be like crying. They felt so good and light and free. And then they would leave. And then another person would come in and I'd continue to do that. And I got a sense that that line behind the veil was like an eternity's length long. Like there were like millions upon millions of people waiting to see me for this healing, which was kind of cool also. So anyways, that was the long and short of my dream. I wake up from my dream and I go, whoa, that was really cool, right? So that was like amazing. And but I don't think about anything of it. I think I did put it into AI and I asked it to interpret the thing, and it interpreted it pretty cool. Very fun, affirming kind of information, of course. And then later that day, I was scrolling on my YouTube to like find a meditation to do, like a guided meditation to do. And I happened across some girl giving some kind of reading that said, Odin has a message for you. And I don't really read messages like that or like click stuff like that. But for some reason, this one, I was like, huh, Odin again, right? Like Odin pops up again. So I listened to it, and the girl just blows my mind. And she just says, Odin has been trying to like Odin's energy has been trying to reach you. He says like you're not paying attention, and he's saying that yeah, I don't know what else he said, but I remember she said that Odin comes in different symbols, and some symbols that he comes in, his energy shows up in is um, wolves, two wolves. He shows up in like his image, like an image of him with an eye patch, or he'll show up in crows, or he'll show up in runes. And runes are these. These are runes. This is a runic plate. And when she told me about when she was explaining about runes and what runes were, I almost fucking like fainted because not really, that's exaggerating. But like I was like freaked out like in the best way because I was like, "Oh my God, that is what that it's like that." It's like that is not exactly what I was doing in my dream that night, but it's so close. It's like so similar. It's something like that. I was drawing this giant thing around, anyways. And so those are runes. That's a runic plate. That's like different runes. They mean different things. But it was very cool. And so when she said that, I was like, dude, no way. Plus, on top of that, I had recently started to see two crows swirling around, swooping around my house all the time. They actually built a nest like at one house behind me and across the street. There's a crow's nest, and two of them live in there together, and so it's like a mated pair. And yeah, Odin has two crows, and I did not at all know anything about Odin. I didn't know his animals. I didn't know shit about runes. I didn't know that his animals were wolves or crows. And so with that, she gave some kind of message that was pretty cool. But on top of that, I didn't just take what she said. I was like, I'm going to go learn his story. So then I spent later that day and I learned about Odin and his story. And that's where you're going to glean a lot of messages, a lot of lessons. Odin, the main thing with Odin is that what he's a leader. He's a leader. First and foremost, what he cares most about is wisdom and truth. And Odin cared so much about wisdom and leading his people from a place of wholeness that he actually he plucked out his own eye because he had to give a payment for drinking out of this river or lake of wisdom. And when he drank out of it, he could gain all of the wisdom, but he had to sacrifice something. And as we all know, we do not get wisdom just from a book or from knowing or from hearing it from anybody else. Wisdom is hard earned, it is hard fought, and it is hard won. You can only gain wisdom through tough experiences and a lot of fuck ups, basically. So that's what Odin cared most about. And what Odin was there to show me was that it was time to stop playing small. It was time to step into my leadership role. It was time for me to just step up. Before I was needed to step up, I needed to know with certainty that for me, for Crystal, one of the things that matters the most to me in the whole entire world is that I lead from my heart and not from any egoic place, that I lead from wisdom and not trauma, right? And that I lead from a place of camaraderie and oneness and not from a place of fear or things like that. And so Odin came to kind of show me a different aspect of myself. Odin is not separate from me. He is an archetype that lives within me that I may channel at any time. And he came there as an energy in my auric field to say, hey, you're ready now. You don't have to keep feeling like you're not ready. You're ready. But just remember wisdom. It took you a long time to get this wisdom. And so don't go back to old ways of being. It was very cool and very powerful. And one of the coolest experiences I've ever had with any symbol, because it kind of came, like I've said before in this video, in different puzzle pieces. And in the end, I had to put the puzzle pieces together, and then I had to do some work in diving into what was the story behind all of it. But even with that, I do my best, just like Mike said, to not pin it down and to not say this is 100% what this means. I let it continue to unfold, and I don't go, oh, 100% sure. Yeah, that's why Odin showed up. It's some aspects of why, but I allow him to continue. I allow that beautiful energy to continue to play out in my life and to teach me things. Because beginner's mind will definitely serve you your entire life if you can look at things that happen from a beginner's mind as if you don't know anything, because we really don't. That's the beginning of wisdom as well, is when you know so much, but you also know you don't know shit. So, so very cool. So thank you guys for listening to my little rant there. I hope that it gives you some kind of looking forward to seeing things in that way or having these kinds of experiences. I'm going to move it on, share this next slides with Mike so that he can go over with you guys a little bit more about AI this week and what the promptings are going to look like for you all.
Thanks, Crystal. Love the Odin story. So we'll jump a little bit into using AI for synchronicities and symbols. Again, same old in terms of, so I'll turn this into a sign. Yep. AI could help us with fresh perspectives and help us brainstorm. It's a good tool to use. It's our good partner. Here's a good prompt to use, be specific about the symbol. Again, use your, Jungian perspective as you have been. So I know you've been doing this for a few weeks now. Always use your discernment. We'll overstate that. If we go to the next slide, I'll continue with the example that I've been using. And this example is from a waking dream of my own when I was, you've heard this before, but I'll just do a quick summary. So walking alone, deep in nature, and suddenly a bicycle rider sped past me with blaring music, disrupting the peace. I was triggered, I wasn't harmed, I was irritated. It felt inconsiderate, intrusive, and jarring. Again, I was deep in the forest in Mokina, Hickory Creek, and no one else around, but this bicycle rider came flying by. So this case, I've used this example before. It's just one little scenario. Sometimes it take the whole story apart and look at pieces of it. So this is looking at one piece of the story and exploring the symbols there using AI. So again, in this case, using the AI prompt of the symbol, the bicycle rider appeared in my day. What could it represent? And then here in summary are kind of some of the perspectives that my AI partner shared with me. So this bicycle rider could have been a younger ego self or outdated masculine pattern. Kind of my old historical go, 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 perform, dominate space. So when I was in the corporate world and, a lot of responsibility to achieve outcomes and, a big team working with a variety of healthcare organizations on really important stuff. It just like pushed you to be really fast and aggressive and make things happen. It's all positive things, but those were, that was the bike rider. He was whooshing by me, like making things happen. It also kind of was interesting. It's like also brought to me this impatience. So again, I've been so focused on over my career over the years of achieving outcomes. And again, in the business world, you're in baseball world, football world, a lot of these competitive areas. You're only good as your last swing, your last game, your last project, your last communication. And you're gone if you're not on top of your game. So I've always needed to be on top of my game and keep moving and keep learning, like be a lifelong learner. So I've always been kind of always aggressive with learning the new things and being on the edge and leveraging, in this case, AI and technology in the business world, even before anybody else was. So I've learned through that world. I was moving fast and on the edge of things all the time. And this work and transition is kind of linear than not, then it's linear than not. So it's not, you can't predict, you can't estimate, you can't develop a plan that's like step one, step two, step three. And this bike rider maybe was showing me that some impatience that I'm having with that approach. And again, some tension in the pace of the soul, the pace of society, and the roles that I've played in this case, and that this bike rider was showing me through this really simple example. And again, as I mentioned it before, it's like it just happened like that. And at the beginning, when it just happened, I was just like, yeah, whatever. Slow down, guy. Or sometimes they say, hey, on your left before they run you down. But anyway, so it just happened like that. Didn't even think about it. But then as I like took a step back and like, oh, this is part of an overall story for that day and couple days actually. So it's that tension. It's a tension between the self and the persona. So there's a lot to learn there when you go a little deeper. Again, the AI could help you get to those, specific symbols. So again, it's a symbol, the bike rider, but what did it really mean? And now what am I learning from it? And again, as part of my overall like action plan, and what are some of the tactics or what are some of the things that I need to do? Not to like get rid of the bike rider, but how do I integrate the bike rider in? Because there's good stuff. That bike rider did a lot of really good stuff and accomplished a lot and got, saved lives. I mean, honestly, how can I integrate that bike rider and the new me together and, reach that self-actualization, that individualization, that'll help, even accelerate even further the impact that you can have. So again, don't want to just like throw that bike rider away. The AI actually said it was the bike rider coming through me was a bit of a like, hey, Mike, remember I'm still here. Like you've pushed me away and you pushed me down, but I'm still here. You haven't dealt with me yet. And I'm still here and you want me here. You need to work on integrating it better. So that was a good learning for me. And it was like a split second like that. And again, AI helped me. I would have never got that without jumping into AI and with with some good prompts here and then reflecting on it. Always use your discernment, of course. You can't just like take what they say. You got to like really dig down and push. And I've been pushing the AI pretty, you're into this course now a few weeks. It's okay to be like questioning what the AI is giving you. And it's like, yeah, that's not quite resonating. What about this? Or did you forget about this? So it's okay now. In the first couple of weeks, we don't want it to keep it kind of sterile, but now it's okay to like, be a little bit more, not prescriptive, but a little bit more, and not aggressive, but just push it a bit, just like question it a bit more. And when you do that, it's the AI is going to be happy to do it. And like, oh, that's an added, description or a little bit more for me to think through with you. Thank you for that. I mean, obviously it's going to always be partnering friendly. But as you start getting into like, these weeks, and certainly as we get into week 5 and week 6, you're actually going to want to be able to be, like being a little bit more pushy, if you will, or just push the next question. And that next question might prompt something that then gets the next question. It's getting deeper and deeper and deeper in the layers of the onion. And that's where the nugget's at. That's where the real actionable, that's where the root cause is and the real actionable thing that you could find. So again, it's okay to be, to really start going deeper. You got to balance. Again, we'll always say that because it's so easy to just get lost. But it's really trying to get to the root of what this, in this case, the symbol was, and then understand it enough so I could like, okay, what's the action I need to take? So again, we'll keep using this example. It's just a good little snippet, and just it's amazing when you go into it. It has so much to help us with. Back to Crystal for our homework for the week.
All right, cool. Thank you so much. Great, great tips for sure. All right, so this week's call, same as usual, we're going to identify 3 waking events. We'll describe them into AI using that single thread. And then we're going to reflect on it into your journals, use your discernment, and then prepare for this week's call. Bring, what's alive, what's going on in your world, and bring maybe a synchronicity or two to share. Synchronicity or a symbols would be really, really helpful to share about. These are really fun topic for people. So some key reflection prompts that we'll definitely have in the PDF for you are: what synchronicities did I notice this week? What emotions or thought were linked to these moments? What personal symbols keep reoccurring? And what deeper meaning might these symbols and synchronicities hold for me? All right, so in closing, guys, synchronicities reveal connections between the inner and the outer worlds. Personal symbols hold unique transformative meanings, and some suggested practices are to continue journaling about your synchronicities and symbols, refine the prompts for AI, and remember, life is always speaking to us through symbols and synchronicities. We need only to listen. And when I was journaling and writing about some things that I was learning about symbols and synchronicities, I came up with this kind of blurb that came out of me. And what I said was, it was kind of like started because I was contemplating on how once we pin something down or know something or believe we know something, it often limits us to continue to let things unfold and to learn more through a beginner's mind. And so what that kind of charged up in me was, especially as somebody who's a curious person who's like obsessed with, answering questions and things like that, and like going to school and knowledge. It's like I'm always thirsty for knowledge. I wrote, our educations and limitless access to info/knowledge has in many ways taken the mystery and magical feelings from our everyday lives. Many of us are doing the work these days to unlearn what we think we know, as to be able to bring ourselves back to a state of childlike wonder. And the bottom line of this entire course is truly to bring us back into a state of childlike wonder in which we can kind of let go of everything we think we know. These things are great and beautiful to have these boxes that we put around things, but we need to be able to learn when to let those box walls down and when to bring them back up, so that we can still continue to let our life unfold before us in a magical and mystical way, like it was always meant to. So thank you guys so much. Can't wait to see you on this week's call. And please continue using Discord. And thank you so much for all your interactions and all of your shares and being super vulnerable on there and everything. It's beautiful, deep work, and it helps. Every single story that you share helps. And so, yes, thank you again so much. And we will see you guys on the flip side. See you.